Everyone. I hope you all are doing well and all of you are safe and healthy. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about three things that can turn a person into a narcissistic person over time. So as we know, there is a mental disorder called as NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, and there's also people who exhibit a lot of narcissistic traits, right? So the disordered people are the one who since their childhood have been having narcissistic behaviors and traits which are reinforced over time. So these people and they also have some physiological differences in their bodies, because of which they can be more susceptible to narcissistic personality disorder. So that is one category of people who are already pretty much on the spectrum of narcissism by the time they are a grown adult. The other kind of people are people who do not fall into this category, but over time they become more and more narcissistic as a function of time or as a function of the life that they are living. So this video discusses those people. So this is narcissistic traits in people which makes them into seem like narcissists over time. So the first question is, can people turn narcissistic over time? So the answer is yes, they can. And many times people are very unaware that they are becoming narcissistic over time. And this video basically is going to talk about three conditions or three things that can turn a person into a narcissistic person over time. So the first one is when you live with a narcissistic person. So say you get married to a narcissistic person later in your life, like in your 20th year or 30th year, and maybe before that you come from a quite a balanced family, so you have not seen narcissism so much. We all are narcissistic to some degree, but not you haven't seen so much of narcissism in either your parents or your birth family. But then you get married to someone who is narcissistic, who has NPD, benign or malignant, or who has a lot of narcissistic traits themselves, who comes from a narcissistic family probably. So if you are living with such a person, what will happen is over time, over 10 years, 11 years, over 10 years, 15 years, you will see yourself becoming more and more narcissistic unless you have a lot of unless you're very aware of their behaviors, etc. So it could very well be that you have no idea about narcissism, but you live with this person for 15 years and you yourself become very narcissistic. And by that I mean very controlling, very judgmental. You don't trust people so much. You try to use people, try to use everything for your own advantage, and everything becomes a means and a tools for you to kind of increase your own ego, instead of trying to build a relationship with someone or some people. So that is the first thing. If you live with a narcissist, chances are extremely high that you yourself might pick up a lot of the traits of the narcissistic person. So the second example is when you are working in a narcissistic environment. And this one I have seen so many times. When you are working in a very corporate based environment, or which is very competitive, where people are at each other's throats, not literally, because you can't be, because then it's violence, but people are just kind of cutting out each other's work, their credibility. They're trying to promote themselves too much in an office environment. There's a lot of backstabbing, groupism, cliques are formed, groups are formed, and when they kind of out one person so that another person gets promoted, etc. All of this politics. When someone works in such an environment for a very long time, it is very possible that you yourself will have to develop such traits. So, and you might even explain this away to yourself, saying that I'm keeping my life very compartmentalized. This is how I have to behave in the workplace, this is how I have to survive in the workplace. But what happens is slowly those traits become a part of your personality. So even if you want to keep it away from your family life, there's only so much that you can actually keep away, because we as beings are not really meant to be compartmentalized. Human beings, we are like an integrated whole energy field, and you can't really separate your energy so much. They are all there together with you. So it's all a part of the deal. So if you behave badly in, or if you behave in a narcissistic way in the work environment, that energy is pretty much coming to your home, and it will also affect your family in a certain way, if unless you're very aware, and unless you try to lessen it to a degree where it's bearable, because narcissism is a part of life, but you have to get it down to such a degree where it's not causing too much of dysfunction for you or for other people. um, so that is the second point. And I have seen so many people over time, over years, become more and more narcissistic and more ruthless as they keep working in a corporate environment. The third point is any sort of unhealed trauma that you experience, or extreme circumstances that you experience in life, can sometimes bring about a lot of narcissistic traits in a person. So for example, people who serve in the army or the military, when they go out to war, when they come back, they change a lot. You will find, you will feel as if it's a completely different person who has come back, and that's because they carry within themselves a lot of unhealed trauma. And from what they have seen, from what they have done, from just the things that they have come to know with the information that they have, etc. So when you don't heal this trauma, when you don't process this trauma, it creates narcissism in you, and you will start behaving in a very narcissistic way towards the people around you. You will be self focused for a reason, because the trauma inside you is calling you to get healed. So all the focus that you have is on yourself, and you cannot really think about others, empathize with others, um, understand others, etc. So that is the first point, unhealed trauma. And then another thing similar to that is extreme circumstances. So say if you suddenly drop from being a well-to-do family, having financial security, etc., to somewhere being suddenly below the poverty line, that's a big jump, right? So that's unhealed, that's extreme circumstances. So that also causes unhealed trauma in you, when suddenly our balance shifts or our reality shifts a lot. So it could be sudden death of many family members, and you are the only surviving person, or you and a few other family members survive. Or it could be a big accident, or any such thing which is extreme, which feels extreme to you, and which is considered an extreme circumstance even in the normal life. Like it could be an attack of violence, a sexual assault, a physical assault, any sort of an assault, or an accident like a car accident, anything like that can also cause unhealed trauma within you, because suddenly your balance shifted, your reality shifted a lot. So when there's a loss of balance like that, it causes unhealed trauma in you. And if you don't process through it, you will start exhibiting a lot of narcissistic traits, even if you haven't been around a narcissistic person, or an environment which was narcissist. It's your own inner balance that needs rebalancing. Until you rebalance that, you will behave, you or anyone in this circumstance will behave in a narcissistic way. So I hope this video helps you in some way, and helps you understand maybe people around you or someone you have encountered sometime in your life. And as always, I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.